Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Affiliate Marketing Unfiltered podcast. I'm here today with Cristian Ionescu. I'm probably gonna be pronouncing the name a little bit wrong depending on where you're from, but I've met Cristian a few months ago. I think it was about 6-7 months ago, and it was actually thanks to LinkedIn. So that's where all the magic happens, apparently. Cristian is going to tell a little bit about himself in a sec, but we are here today because we have a mutual problem in the industry, and I'm from the affiliate manager side for brands, and Cristian is from the data analytics side of things. So Cristian, tell us a little bit about yourself real quick.
Hey Ivan, thank you for having me and thank you for doing this. I'm very glad that we're having this conversation because you're coming with your expertise as an affiliate manager. I'm coming with my expertise as a data analytics expert, and there is a gap that we need to fill in now. There is some knowledge that we need to reconcile there. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you as well. I guess we should start off with a quick introduction into, well, who's Cristian? How did you get to where you are today? You are from With Analytica. Tell us a little bit about basically yourself and Witco.
Yeah, so even I started off, I think like I'm 10 years in since I've been working, since I graduated. Originally an aerospace engineer, if you can believe. I don't know how many people know that about me. But I started off working in some large companies. I've always done data analytics. Like I'm a maths guy. I've always liked maths, machine learning, data analytics, visualizations. I worked in automotive, in telecom. I had nothing to do with the industry until 5 years ago when I was contracted by a company because of a tool I knew. So if you can imagine, I knew nothing about affiliate marketing. I knew nothing about email marketing. So I was contracted initially for a group of email marketing publishers to help them set up a big database of emails and opt-ins and activity signals and all of that. And trust me, for the first year, I had no idea what I was doing over there and why I was getting paid to build this database whatsoever. So I worked with these email marketing publishers, then I started working with an affiliate network, did a lot of reporting for them, and slowly I started putting pieces together, and I realized this industry has a lot of data, and basically I stayed in the industry and kept on going. And I founded With Analytica, you were asking me, 5 years ago. It's a data analytics, initially managed services company, so we provide data analytics services to large programs, to networks, and particularly to email marketing publishers to help with cloud infrastructure, databases, buying data, managing it, cleaning it up, to aggregate data coming from multiple sources so they can see in one single dashboard. So all of that work.
Obviously, I know a little bit about this, but for the viewers, I hope that makes it clear what Analytica does. You just came back from Affiliate Summit West. How was that experience?
Just last night, this was my first time. The experience is crazy. It's a huge. I haven't been to many affiliate marketing events so far, but I think that this is one of the largest ones in the world.
Yep.
Everybody was there. I can tell you. So Romania to Las Vegas. Las Vegas is very far away. It's too far away. It was.
Yeah.
I had. So when I went there, it was a 22-hour, 3 flights, 22 hours, and when I came back, it was 23 hours. But I'm glad that I was there. I kind of made Las Vegas a little bit closer to Bucharest. Loved it. Everybody was there. Lots of programs, lots of networks, solution providers, affiliates, influencers. Everybody was there.
Yeah, people fly all over the world actually to go there. So yeah, not a
Yeah,
surprise. And you just came back yesterday, right?
just last night. So I took a shower,
Yeah.
have slept, and here I am in the podcast.
Yeah, you're crazy, man. You're crazy. So how was that experience then? Because you also did a presentation over there. So tell
Yeah,
us a little bit how that went.
I was invited over. It was I had a speech at the Digi store. They have a private party. It's huge party. I don't know if you're not familiar with it. It's they rent out a private apartment and they throw this party with ice sculptures and DJs and everybody is having some fun, lot of fun. But they also have some masterminds on various topics and they held one on data analytics. And to my surprise, I have to tell you, also at the conference and at the event, I didn't meet anybody that does what we do. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but we're gonna figure it out as we go along with
It's
it.
a good thing for you, but yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Wait, so what did you talk about there? Because I guess that kind of leads into one of the questions I had for you as a starting point for this episode. What the biggest challenges are that you're trying to solve with Analytica? So obviously you have access to a lot of data. You've been in the industry now for quite some time. Obviously you haven't touched on every single, let's say, vertical in the industry, but you've seen enough to actually understand what the biggest problems are. So what did you do then so in light of that? How did that presentation go? So you said that you don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Obviously, for you, it's a good thing since you're the only one apparently that's doing this kind of stuff. But how did the audience receive it? How did the information that you brought over come across over there?
So I'd say I was expecting, and I even mentioned that at the beginning of my presentation, it's a clash of two separate worlds that haven't really met so far. And this is why also the conversation that we're having is this important. What I want with my speeches is to actually show and demonstrate applied data analytics use cases that I have worked on. So this is because there are lots of efforts being undertaken out there to make companies more digital and make programs more digital, and everybody has been hearing about AI and machine learning and automation, but what is that? If you start digging deep, realize that everybody knows they have to automate or to become more digital and to transform the program or the network, but if you go deeper and actually ask them, okay, so how are you going to do that? Nobody has a clue. And what I want is actually show some of the use cases that I've worked on and see what sticks. Some of them make sense, some of them generalize, and I realize that there are more networks in need of some analysis, some don't, but we need to discuss about them.
Okay, so you're right. So obviously, like people indeed, what you said. So AI is like a pretty big topic, right? But in my opinion, there's no point in even thinking or trying to apply AI when you don't have the basic automations in place. So because obviously, if you want to use AI properly, you need automations too. So how are you gonna do that if you don't even know how to use basic automations? Let me ask you this: what was the biggest takeaway in terms of your audience sitting there? So first of all, what kind of people sat in the audience?
There were both mostly merchants and affiliates were in the audience, not so many networks. So these two. And
Okay.
you were asking me about the key things that I want to solve and where I see the need and what the surprise was. People need to realize there is a higher degree of flexibility in working with their existing tools. So what I mean by that, let's just like be very particular here. In affiliate marketing, you need the tracking platform. You can't do it. Either you build your custom platform or you adopt one or you work with a network. The truth of the matter, what I've seen from a data analytics perspective is they are great at tracking, but they offer less flexibility in terms of analyzing data, in terms of actually allowing you to manage your program, stay on top of trends, stay on top of alerts, do some segmentations. Most of them have some pivot tables or some flex tables and some tables that will allow you to monitor your offers, to monitor your affiliates. But if you want to get a little bit more proactive or only be alerted of something that happens, you need to kind of bend the data a little bit and customize the visualizations that you
Yeah, I
need.
would I would say more than a little bit because what you just said, like pivot tables and stuff, most don't even have that. So it's mostly just a couple of basic standard default reports that show a few default kind of things, which is fine for absolutely small programs or for people that are completely, I would say, inexperienced, so they don't know what data to look for, or for people that don't really care. They just want to see the revenue come in. They're fine. But honestly, that percentage is decreasing. Those kind of groups of data viewers, right? So more and more people are interested in more granular data. They're more interested in what you said. You have to bend the data. So that's one of the things that we also do. So we didn't do that like, let's say even 6 months ago because we're just starting up. So Tag is quite a new agency, right? We're only like a year into the game as an agency. But now we, for example, started offering also dashboards. So on LinkedIn, for example, we had you commented on it like once or twice on a couple of posts about manually collecting the information. So for example, there was something that I posted about, I think it was like a channel share, or I don't remember the exact specific post, but you said, do you do this manually now? And I said, well, we're integrating that into the dashboard, but as of that moment, yes, I did it manually, which is now already in the dashboard automatically, but we had to do it ourselves. So there was absolutely no solution provided by the network And honestly, in my opinion, networks should kind of take responsibility for this because they're like the platform that hosts everything, and they present themselves as the experts as well in the field. So honestly, when literally during audits, I wouldn't say during RFPs, when we're doing RFPs, because a lot of networks, they know me because I'm the one doing the RFPs personally. So they know me, they know that there's no need to like basically oversell things. But in a lot of cases, when brands try to like look for a new network, they don't even look at things like this. So they don't even know what kind of questions to ask, or okay, hey, what kind of insights are we gonna get? What kind of features do you have in terms of automations? Because they just don't ask, they don't know. So the networks don't even really actively tell them either. And then in the end, you end up like signing up with the network. Turns out you only have like 3 or 4 reports. Obviously, some networks have a longer list of report types, but they're still very basic. And then at some point, when you actually want to find out more, you need to combine those reports. And there is absolutely not,
Yes.
I don't think there's a single network out there that combines those reports. So we've been using, I think, about 12 networks or something like that in the last 12 months, if not more. So I'm just saying, like, I think it's around 12 for sure, all the major ones, but none of them have those options. So this is also a reason why I think you have a pretty good, I guess, position in the market where you can start to make a difference into this kind of stuff. Is because we just don't have that stuff, and not everybody provides dashboards. A lot of people just log into the platform, take a look at the basic report, how our publisher's doing basically. A lot of people don't even, by the way, which is kind of weird to me in this day and age, is they don't even look at, let's say, creatives reports. They only look at the publisher performance and the overall data. Okay, per day, how much revenue did we make? What are our conversion rates? Maybe the amount of traffic and stuff like that, or impressions. So it's very basic, man. So
Let's go. We can go. Let's go deeper now because I'm aware of this perspective, and I worked recently with a program. It was a very large program running on 5 networks, I think. And the first challenge that you have is having a consolidated view of your program. So without having to log into the individual platform and see how your campaigns are doing. So some of the stuff, there are some third-party tools out there that can do that, but some of the stuff that we are doing is build a data warehouse, connect to those platforms through the API, pull the data, bring all of that into a database, and then display it. So the first point is having all the data at your disposal in a database so you can analyze and see in a dashboard. Concrete scenario, you might have one offer that you're launching and running across 5 networks. When you want to analyze and compare your offers over there, you want to do it over the entire all the networks, and this is not something you can easily achieve. So if you bring the data in a data warehouse, you can then compare your offers irrespective on how many platforms they are working, right? This is one of the first things that we're solving. Secondly,
by the way, there are some tools obviously out there, right? Like, I don't want to sponsor anybody now and things like that, but there are some third-party tools that do this with sometimes there's some issues with data imports and stuff like that. So this basic stuff, there's already things that exist, but I think you have more. So
yeah, we go a step further. You have the aggregation, you have all your data in one database. Once you have that, you can start arbitrate. What that means is you can start to look for gaps in performance of the same offer across different networks. Or another scenario that I've met, I was talking to an affiliate manager and he told me, Christian, I want to insource the relationship with one of my affiliates. I want to work directly with some of them. The concern over there was that he's too reliant on some of the external networks. And at first, he came to me and he said, I want to get rid of all my networks and work with affiliates. And I was like, hold up, let's take a step back, because there are different shades of gray between black and white. What you firstly need, you don't want to get rid of your entire collaboration with some networks, because you will lose access to some very exclusive affiliates that have some very exclusive properties that you won't find anywhere else. So you won't be able to substitute that traffic altogether. What you want instead is, firstly, to have this aggregation and the comparison between the performance that the networks are bringing compared to when you're managing your affiliates directly. So you want an aggregation and see where the return on ad spend makes sense. And after you see it, because on one side, you are working with a network, the network is taking care, it's connecting you with the affiliates, it's giving you the platform, it's allowing you to manage your program over there. When you are managing your affiliates directly, most often they need to adopt your own SaaS tracking solution, and you need to be putting in more work in order to find the affiliates, to recruit them, to onboard them, to look after them, and all of that stuff, right? So this
True.
comes with an added cost of having maybe an additional affiliate manager assistant or some other people. And also you will need some cloud infrastructure, you need to pay the subscription for that tracking platform and all of that. So then the question begs, how do you compare? Is it worth trying to manage them directly, or you're better off working with a network? In order to answer this question, you need to put everything together in order to compare it, right?
Yep. And another thing, by the way, so I've encountered this a couple of times already in the last year alone. Some affiliates or some of the top guys as well. So the thing is, I wouldn't say they're loyal to networks, but they're loyal to their administration. Let's put it that way. So they don't want to have 20, 30, 50, 100 different kind of financial streams going on with every single individual brand. So that's actually a good point that you said as well. So yes, you can try to cancel all your networks, try and get everybody directly into your own stuff. But there are some really good guys that are like, nah, we don't want to work with this tool. We don't want to work with that platform. We don't want another financial stream, like creating extra invoices for another vendor. This actually really happens, man. So you're kind of bound to that as well. So yes, you can't just pull. I just wanted to mention that as well because it's not always possible. So people kind of underestimate that as well from a brand's perspective.
So here's, yeah, you touched on a very important point. Coming back to your original question, what is the problem that you are solving? And it's me, and also, I don't know, can I make a shout out? There's somebody else doing some BI, some great stuff. You might know, do you know John Wright from StatsDrone?
Of course.
So there you go. So I'm more working on automating and making the management of programs and networks easier, while on his side with his platform, he's making it easier for the affiliate to enroll in multiple programs and see all of their data in one place and automate the issue of the billing so that they don't have to put up with a lot of headache. So I guess both for me and John, what we're doing here, we are building the tools to get people rid of the manual work. It doesn't, so this hassle of integration does no longer have to be a criteria when deciding on how you manage your program. It should be based on performance, it should be based on relationship, it should be based, one takeaway that I got from Affiliate Summit West is, when running your program, you need to be on the lookout for those networks and affiliates that give you access to the audience you're interested in, right? This is what affiliate marketing was originally built for. It was built, this is for performance marketing that you partially, I don't want to use the term outsource, but basically this is, you want to tap into somebody else's audience. This is what it was originally built for. So to recap, we're building all these tools so that your only concern is just to think on how to get to the audience you're interested in.
True.
Okay. So these are some of the stuff that I've seen missing, but I want to ask you, so from your perspective as an affiliate manager, what are your most frequent challenges that you have to put up with when managing a program right now? Do you mostly manage them through networks? Do you work with affiliates directly? How do you do that?
Okay, so there's a couple of things actually. I don't think you're going to be solving all of these points because that's just not the focus of what you do. But a couple of big ones, so major ones, you are definitely, I think you're going to be solving them. To answer your question, one of the main things is, again, I guess going back to that point that we've discussed already, is data aggregation. So we're beyond the point where we have, I guess, where we get the most out of basic reports. They just tell us some basic things. Our clients, for example, we don't want them, if they want to check some data, we don't want them to, well, like you said yourself, log into 3 different networks, or in some networks you have per country, you have a different program instead of launching one program and people can just deep link, right? It all depends on the different kind of networks you have. So just a practical example, there's a brand we're doing, they're across 2 networks, and in one of the networks they have 4 different accounts, four different countries.
Mm-hmm.
So they would have to log into 5 things. So 2 networks, but 5 different accounts, because on the other one, The other two countries out of the six, they are on one platform within one account, so they don't have to switch between accounts. Anyway, that's still 5 logins they have to do. So one of the biggest concerns or reasons for us to actually have, I guess, a need for something more automated, more aggregated, more insightful, let's put it that way, is that's why we're doing those dashboards, is because the client can just literally, we give them the dashboard, they log in, select the date range they want to check, and they literally find all the information that they would have to find in 3-4 different reports. So that's because we aggregate that for them. There are networks right now, so I'm not talking about third-party tools, because some brands, they don't have budget for, well, they might have the budget, but they just don't want to buy an extra tool to do these aggregations, right? Because there are options. Obviously, you can do API connections, you can do like Supermetrics, you can do a bunch of other ones, but there's a bunch of third-party tools where you can use, but they are costly, so they're not free. There are things that are free, like Looker Studio. Basically, you can do it in a free way, but you still rely on a third-party tool. So you need to do that. The brands, they would never really do that themselves most of the time. I'm saying most of the time because I think about 95% of the brands that we help, they use a third-party tool. They're not satisfied with just the basic information, having to log in, having to go through those manual steps. So this is literally one of the biggest problems, is finding that information, logging in, checking different reports. You just log into one page, see all the reports, all the things, the metrics that you want to see. That's why we always ask what's important for you to see, so that we make sure we aggregate the data in the correct way. So this is literally one of the biggest pain points, I guess, from managing from a brand perspective. Number two is CRM. So you still need to use something like HubSpot, right? You need to, if you want to really keep track of all your communications, all your automations, by the way. So one of the things, again, we keep coming back to automations, man. But basically, not all networks, even major ones, not all of them have the possibility to send a welcome email when somebody joins a program. So when you approve an affiliate to your program, you don't get an automated like, hey, welcome to the program, here are some resources, blah, 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 just that welcome mail, which basically starts off the email funnel, right, for your active affiliates.
Yes.
Yes, so that's another thing. Some of them don't even have an option to see which messages you sent. It's very basic in my opinion. So we're in 2025, but these are the two major things that I have. So data analytics, so analyzing your performance data to see where you can find gaps. For example, an affiliate, let's say we signed up a nice affiliate that we know that's doing revenue. You have to log in to see how is he doing this week, how did he do this month versus last month.
Yes.
Or let's say you're a year down the road, you compare year-on-year comparisons, stuff like that. Like there are some networks that have some basic comparisons versus periods, so without naming the networks, but most of them don't have this stuff. Like you need to again go per report type, so you can select comparisons, which is a bit more common, but you can't do this across which affiliate used what. So again, if you want to see the creatives, you have to go to the creatives report and do that comparison. If you want to go to the publisher, so that's how they call them still, but to the affiliates report, you have to go to the affiliates report to get that information in a comparison, but you don't have this in one single place. Yeah, basically, that's just something happening. And then the CRM is, I think, still a very, very big issue. Again, we keep being reliant on third-party tools to solve some very basic things from an affiliate management perspective for brands and affiliates.
So you touched on three topics, and I'd like to detail a little bit on each of them. So starting off with the tools that you mentioned, it's not a shout out here, but people need to be aware of the alternatives. And you mentioned Looker Studio over there. So just to shed a little bit more light on what we do, when we build, I always say we build custom solutions. So what we build is data analytics infrastructures that work like this. They have three major components. One is the ETL, the connection to the underlying APIs of the tracking platforms and of the networks, or of the CRM that you mentioned. We extract the data and we store it in a database that can be both structured or unstructured depending on the volume of data. Most often than not, we work with MySQL or MongoDB. And then on top of the databases, for visualization, we mostly use either Power BI, Tableau, or Domo. Domo is mostly popular in the US market, but it has become crazily expensive. And I met this issue at Affiliate Summit West in a discussion with someone, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. Now, when I set up these infrastructures, it can be in two ways. Either it's called platform as a service. You are the affiliate program. I advise you on the infrastructure infrastructure that you need. We get some bare Linux servers, we set them up, set the ETLs, the database, and connect that to a platform. And for instance, Power BI can be very cheap when you want to build some of those dashboards. Or alternatively, we build cloud infrastructures. And the most frequent scenario that we use is, especially for smaller programs or for smaller networks, we get cloud from Google because it's the cheapest and it can be spun up very quickly, right? So this is what I mean by custom solutions. Once we build this type of reporting architectures, you no longer have to rely on the default reports that you are getting from your CRM or from your tracking platform. So this is how we build those dashboards, just to shed a little bit more light on what it is that we do. Secondly, you touched on the need for CRM, and this is something that I also noticed, and as a matter of fact, it's one of the very frequent type of reports that is asked from us by both networks and affiliate programs, is to combine tracking data with CRM data. The problem is, and if there are tracking platforms listening to this, please, by all means, implement CRM capabilities as part of your tracking platform and implement ticketing capabilities as part of your tracking platform. Because what happens...
Ticketing they mostly do have, by the way, but again, there is no...
Some of them do. Yeah.
Some of them do, and some of them keep track of the messages that you send, but it's not a default practice within...
So
networks.
To name some dashboards that I've built where I had to combine this type of data is, one network wanted to see the ROI of their trade show presence. They were going to lots of trade shows. So what I was doing is, in their CRM, it was HubSpot, they kept track of where they met an advertiser or where they re-met. In the tracking, in the accounting tool, they kept track of the expenses, and in the tracking platform, they had the revenue that was generated. So what I did is I put all this information together to see whether the revenue and the gross profit that has been generated after the trade shows made up for the trade show expenses. This is not a one-click report. Nobody's gonna give you that, so you need to build a custom integration. Secondly, you have non-compliance issues that you discover, you start to address with an affiliate. How long is that taking? You need a ticketing system. Secondly, what revenue has been impacted because of that compliance issue? Was that affiliate working on affecting only one offer or multiple? This is not yet again a single type of report, and you need to see how long it's taking you to solve that issue and to close that ticket compared to what the impact in dollar terms was. And another example is onboarding a new affiliate or setting up a new offer. How fast are you doing that? Usually, when setting up a new offer, you need to go through legal review, you need to go and negotiate the terms, you need to have prepare the creatives, feed the creatives, there's some back and forth because you need to make the creatives for all the channels and for all the affiliates, right? So there's lots of back and forth, and instead of taking, 2 days, you end up taking 2 weeks to set up a new offer. And if you want to do something about it and speed up this process, you need to measure the process. So you need to have a ticketing system to have visibility on how long it stayed in each of those stages and where most of the time is lost. And you need to be able to visualize that in order to address maybe work piles over at the legal department. Maybe there's too much stuff that they have to put up with and they cannot keep expedite them, right? But only an analysis like this is going to shed light on this type of issues.
It's the same thing also for when you make tenancy deals. So you agree with somebody, here's $500 if you do this and this for me extra. We all have to keep track of those things as well. So that's just another example from our perspective, right? So not just getting things live. So what you said, it's true. Sometimes you can get something live within a day. Sometimes it takes even a month, man. It depends, again, exactly what you said. The type of affiliate, by the way, what kind of channels are they using, right? So like putting something on a content website usually goes a bit faster than getting something live, let's say on Meta, because you go through the approval process, they might get denied again. So there's a bunch of different kinds of things. But then also we're missing all this, again, CRM, we're missing all this combined information of, okay, so we agreed with these affiliate to push us on their homepage or to do this kind of placement for this kind of money. This is the ROI on that specific placement versus their always on results. We don't have any of those kind of pieces of information now within any single network. You still have to aggregate everything yourself. So you have to either do it manually, make those exports, create your own sheets, get that own information together, or create dashboards where you pull that information and then it's visible for the client as well easily. But again, third-party reliance. So yes, indeed, if affiliate networks are listening, these are some things that would definitely help in the market to make our lives a lot easier. I think we've discussed this, Christian, before as well, is like, why don't we actually have all these things? So actually, let me ask you this for the audience as well. Why do you think we don't have all these automations, all these alerts, all these insights, trends? Like, for example, recommendations, they're also like very, in my opinion, they're quite bad. So we're managing an electronics brand and we're getting like a fashion website that's supposed to, like, that doesn't absolutely make any sense. So why don't we have all these accuracies? Why don't we have any of these automations, the things that we've just been discussing? Why don't networks have that as a default? Why do you think?
So I'd say the short answer is that we didn't have to so far. So the industry as a whole had a great run. There have been lots of opportunities during, I'm reading the performance partnerships book, and this has been very enlightening for me also to understand what my role is in the industry. And the short answer is that everybody has had a very good run until far. There was fewer competition, so you didn't have to go the extra mile to differentiate also with technology. Another answer, and this is not something particular to the affiliate industry, this is something that I see in all the industries, there's a lack of awareness about what is possible in terms of data analytics and in terms of data science. And I've seen this everywhere. I see it in the finance world, I see it in the supply chain world, I see it in the manufacturing world. And just so that you know, I constantly keep, the first time part of my career, I had to build dashboards for the manufacturing environment, so that for a plant, right? And what I can tell you is people in the digital world, digital marketing and affiliate marketing, do not appreciate enough how cheap data collection is. Because when you want to do reporting in manufacturing, if there's a data point that you're not capturing, you need to install a sensor. You need to call the manufacturer of the equipment that you are using, pay tens of thousands of dollars to install that additional sensor to have that additional piece of information captured and work with it and visualize it. In affiliate marketing, like, you do what? You implement a new tag, you implement an additional tag. That's it. No sensor. No tens of thousands of dollars. So people need to be appreciative of that.
Actually, this is a perfect bridge to another question I had for you, which is your solutions that you're providing. So you have all these insights, because I've seen some things obviously that you're working on, that you're going to be doing. Those things we don't have in the networks, right? So just as a default, we don't have that. But I've also seen the size of brands that you're doing this for right now, which have the need. So for example, that thing that you mentioned with the 5 networks that they're running, they're doing like millions in revenue. So they have a lot of data to work with, right? But they also have deeper pockets, man. So how would you say this is achievable? Let's say short, long term, whatever, for brands that don't have millions and millions of revenue even per month, or let's say 10, 20, 30 million revenue in affiliate per year. How can they actually benefit from these kind of third-party solutions from guys like you to actually benefit their stuff as well? So small, medium enterprises.
So to differentiate a bit, I've got this question before. Let's just put a number on it. To differentiate, to recognize the moment you can afford to invest more. It's firstly, like, the simple answer is, I'd say the moment you have maybe $2, $3, $5,000 to spare, you're better off looking out for a data analytics freelancer to help you on some of the stuff, on some of the challenges you have, and that's gonna pay out. Secondly, if you are running a program and paying, let me just say, more than $500,000 in annual commissions, you have the size to think of some more robust data analytics infrastructure that can help you optimize some of that program and to actually double check that you are spending the money right and where you should be.
But what about the guys that don't have that 500,000 in commission spent? So what if you're only spending, let's say, 10 per year on commissions or 25K?
For the ones that don't, unfortunately, for the moment, there are no out of the box type of tools, but I am working on productizing some of our work. So I'm building cat stats, and it's gonna be a SaaS that is going to bring alerts and insights on top of tracking platform data. So you just connect your platform, put in your API key, and we're gonna give you the visualizations and the insights and the alerts that you won't be able to find it by yourself in the tool, or have to work a lot in order to prepare them yourself. And hopefully when we launch the product, it's gonna be subscription based and it's gonna be way cheaper than having your own data analytics department.
Okay, nice. So that's a solution then that's more accessible. So that's more for the alerts kind of things, which again we're missing quite hard as an industry. So when are you thinking of launching that stuff? I mean, very nice by the way, on the t-shirt, man. That's a pretty good placement right there.
Thank you. I hope in about 2 to 3 weeks. I have a coming soon page. It's mostly so for the moment we're building the product with the affiliate networks in mind. It is working for the programs, but you need to run your program on one single tracking platform. If you're running it across multiple networks or platforms, you still need that custom aggregation. So it's not gonna work. But short answer, I hope in 2 3 weeks. But then, even if you asked me 1 month ago, it was also 2 weeks. Let's see how
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can manage to get it out.
it's like getting stuff like new websites live as well. It can take a month longer or 2 months longer than expected anyway. So, but good to hear that that you're also working on that, because obviously you need to have this accessible also for smaller players. Otherwise, it's only the big guys that can benefit from this kind of information. When actually we want to improve the whole industry as a whole. So the things that I'm doing, I'm just trying to improve the affiliate industry step by step. We have guys like you that also are trying to improve that. So very good to hear that you're also thinking about the smaller guys. Christian, we didn't really get into too many specifics about like examples and stuff like that in this session. Would you be okay if we do another one later at some point to just discuss some feature examples, just to show people a more visualized version of what kind of things they can expect to get more out of, again, so a third party versus what they have available now in the networks?
Yes, absolutely. I appreciate you putting a spotlight on this and helping me popularize this, because there is a need for more awareness about what is possible.
That's definitely true. So we need to have these conversations. And that's also something that we encounter from a brand's perspective. So when we either do an audit or when we pitch something new to brands, we often say things that they never even thought about in the first place, because they just don't have those conversations. So yeah, basically, we do need more education. I completely agree with that. We need to be more vocal about this. I would say keep on fighting the fight, man. We need to help brands understand what's possible and what they can actually do with all this stuff to make their lives better, rather than just turning affiliate on and then seeing what happens. Thanks a lot for the effort, Christian. I think this was a pretty good chat. We just touched the tip of the iceberg, so this was just a quick introduction into what the automation problems are that we're experiencing, what we're experiencing from our perspective. Obviously, other people experience other issues as well. So affiliates, networks, they all have their own issues. Christian is obviously trying to solve some of that stuff, doing a pretty good job at it. And again, thanks that you're also thinking about the smaller guys, because then everybody can benefit. Is there anything else that you'd like to add for this session?
There's a huge opportunity for affiliate marketing to play its part. But now, I think more than ever, I've noticed, imagine lots of the channels are becoming more and more opaque, and there's less opportunities for brands to learn from their marketing operations. I think there's an opportunity for the affiliate marketing industry to step up and show that visibility into what works and what doesn't, because I think affiliate marketing done right helps a lot. But there needs to be this check from your side as an agency, from ours as solution providers, and from everybody that brings the technology, that everything is transparent and works, and everybody understands where the money and the budgets are getting spent, the fact that there is incrementality and that there is value addition.
That's a pretty good closer, man. I don't have anything else to add to that, so good one. This was a good session. I would say, yeah, let's wrap it up for this one. Thanks again. It was good seeing you. Catch you on the next one.
Thank you for having me. Good seeing you, Istvan. Bye, everyone.